Hey guys, hopefully you've had a good week. So we're continuing on today with Bones Brigade Series 12, and today we are looking at the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. 900 himself, Tony Hawk. And so we're familiar with this board, guys. If you're from my time frame, I mean, crap, even guys that aren't from my time frame, we know who Tony Hawk is. Pro skater, Birdhouse, you know, he's still out there, still competing, still influencing the skate industry, that's for sure. And so today we're just going to take a look at his board here. Again, this was one that is kind of cool because this colorway was one from back in the day. And so back in the day, they would have had it in, I believe I've seen it in the XT, so the Bonite, but also in the 7-ply, which is this one here as well. And so I'm not going to say a lot on Tony Hawk, guys. We know who he is. So we'll just burn through this board here, get through the specs on it. Yeah, so let's dive into it. So what came with this initially? So obviously the board, it came in a plastic sleeve instead of the shrink wrap, which was nice. I prefer them coming in the plastic sleeves, but the only ones that I've actually seen come in the plastic sleeves are the Bones Brigade series. But again, it is nice versus the shrink. You're able to keep it. It really isn't like a protective type plastic sleeve. You can get some thicker, what do they call them? Poly bags, I guess. Anyways, they're thicker mills and they actually probably have some protective value. But it's better, you know, the ones that come with it are just kind of like a dust sleeve essentially. But yeah, I do have it, so I'll try to put a picture here. I've got it stored away, but I'll try to put a picture here for you guys of what that looked like. I'm going to put the board down for a second just so we can run through some of the other things here. So obviously we get the warranty card with it. I think these things are just stickers on decks nowadays, like on the wrap, the shrink wrap. But you get the warranty card with it. You got a little pin with it, or you're supposed to get a pin with it. But if you remember some of my other videos, I talked about this. And so a lot of the store owners, when they got these pins, it was just another way to, you know, create another stream of income. So unfortunately, they sold these pins, but these were supposed to come with the decks, which is frustrating. And if you're a collector like me, I like getting a little extras. So anyways, I'll put a picture up here for you guys. But yeah, you're supposed to get that. And then you get the rider card, which again, I love these things. And so here, yeah, we've worked through the Mullen, the McGill, the Guerrero, the Mountain, and now we're on Hawk. And so the one other thing, guys, I want you to notice, just see how much that pink is popping on the Hawk. This is one of the things, sorry, my hand's shaking there, but this is one of the things in the marketing material where the pink, when they sold these images or used these images for the advertising purposes, the pink really popped on it. So when I got the Hawk, I was actually really disappointed because the pink does not pop like that, that's for sure. And then we're going to finish off with the cab here. So then we get a good little rundown of who Tony Hawk is. We get just a little rundown again just of his career. Vernon Courtlandt Johnson just talks about the graphic in there, and then it ends with the quote from Peralta on there. So these are really rad cards. The other nice thing about this card is that it has the limited edition number here. So this is 0086 of 3500. And so this was a huge run. I think the other ones were only 2500. So they added an extra 1,000. So there was a lot more of these out than there were previously. So I'm interested to actually see what they're doing with Series 13. I wonder what the run limits are going to be. But anyways, yeah, so there's 3,500. This one, again, was number 86 of 3,500. So not a bad drop. Now, I've mentioned before that the one thing I wish they would do with those numbers is actually put them in the serial number or someplace on the board here, so it has that cohesiveness to it. Yeah, if you go back to one of my other videos, I tell you why, even just from a security standpoint, if the board gets stolen, then you can actually reference it to the card because you actually have a number of the board that you had. Without that number, I mean, anybody can just take the board and throw out the card and it means nothing, right? So it'd be really hard. It is hard to identify these boards as yours if it was stolen in a trade or something along those lines. But anyways, all right, guys, so let's just get into the specs of this guy. Sorry, I'm just opening. It falls asleep on me and I should have had that. Oh, yeah, of course. Okay, so here we go again. So just looking at this one from the shape standpoint, if we look at the last 3 digits in the number here, it says 232, and that just helps us identify the shape. The concave on this one is the SP3 concave. I want to get it so you guys can actually see it there. So, you know, again, pretty flat concave, but this is the 80s, right? So here we go. Just giving you guys a look at that. I'll flip her over here. I love this concave, actually. My buddy had this board. He still has his OG, and I'm going to do a video on it. I'm going to bring it and do a video for you guys because it's super rad. And it's a 7-ply as well. OG from back in the day with some gull wings and some T-bones on it. So I'm going to bring it in. We'll just do a quick little overview of it. All right, so yeah, the SP3 concave. So the width on this one is the 10.41. The length is 30.28, sorry, from the top to the bottom here. The nose on this guy, so back in the day, this was a pretty big nose, I guess, 4.21 inches. The wheelbase, so measuring in between the trucks here, is 15 inches, and then the tail down here is 5.97 inches. So again, this is 7-ply hard rock maple. And then for the process with the graphics here, they used a heat transfer. So they screen onto the heat transfer and then they put it on. And so that's why you don't see the holes on the bottom here, but it's just like confetti. You can literally just blow it out. I prefer the old school process of screening right onto the deck. But anyways, that's what Powell's been doing for a while now, is just this heat transfer process where they screen onto heat transfer and then essentially just put a big sticker on to cover the deck. All right, what else am I missing here? We've got the Bones Brigade with the date on top there, 2020, so that's when it was released. Again, it was pushed back from the summer to the fall, or really late summer anyways. From a truck hole standpoint, we can see here, new school or old school, and we can see that it is the old school hole pattern. And so this is important, guys. If you're buying trucks, make sure you have some that have the old school hole pattern, so they're the bigger hole pattern. And so you want to get some like Indy 169s if you're going to throw them on here. But make sure they have that 6-hole base plate on it. So that allows you to mount them on either boards with new school or old school hole pattern. The Bones Brigade series, though, are old school hole pattern. So you'll either have to have some old trucks and or, find a brand that has something like the Indy 6-hole base plates where you'll be able to mount them on both. And if for whatever reason you want to skate 149s or 159s on some of these boards, then you can still just buy the Indy base plates separately and put them on, because a lot of the 149s, even a lot of the 159s won't come with that 6-hole base plate. You actually have to go up to 169s. You'll see where a lot more of them will have that base plate. All right, so we've done that. I'm just wondering what else there is. Guys, I think we've covered it. I'll give you one more good look here. That graphic on top, so the dragon's on top of every single one of the Series 12 boards, and it does have that tighter tail versus the more feathered kind of flame tail there. And so, yeah, such a killer, iconic graphic, honestly. The chicken skull is one of my favorite graphics, and if I'm thinking actually about getting a Series 13, I feel like the Hawk works the best because it carries on with that military mode. I know that they're all part of the Bones Brigade, which has a military vibe to it already. But honestly, I think if one's going to work, it's just the Hawk because it has that iron cross in the back. All right, guys. Well, there you have it. Thanks again for stopping by. Be sure to leave a comment. Thanks again for all the likes, subscribes, all that good stuff, guys. All right. Peace out. Have a fabulous week. Cheers.